And if you're a comic book artist out there and your dream is to work for Marvel or DC, that's fine. Do it when you're young and this and that. But understand they will never value you. No, they won't. They never have. So if they start valuing people, it'll be the first time. The next time they do it will be the first time. And what you need to do, go to bigmancomics.com for the best in action adventure entertainment. Hey guys, Gabe Eltaeb here, Big Man Comics. This is near and dear to me. I saw a story here on Bounding into Comics. Industry artists slam Marvel Comics corporate greed. Publicly criticize publishers' refusal to pay proper cover rates or royalties. Stop effing creators over. You're not getting another cover from me until then. This is from a former Wildstorm guy, and he's gone on to have a great career, Dustin Nguyen. I've met him a few times. I worked at Wildstorm from 2008 to 2000. The end of 10, when everything closed and it all moved up to Hollywood, basically. But he worked back there, I believe, in the late 90s and the earlier 2000s before I got there in 2008. But I met him a few times because he would be around some Wildstorm stuff occasionally, conventions. I think he came to the studio once or twice while I worked there. Awesome guy, awesome artist. But he just talks about how hard we work as artists and how little they pay. And I'm just here to tell you he's exactly right. This is totally true. Marvel and DC, they are the ultimate cheapskates because they've benefited to the tune of billions and billions and billions of dollars off these IPs, and they've always mistreated the talent. They always have. They always will. You can look it up. All the old autobiographical books from former artists, the great people that set the table, right? Decades and decades and decades ago. Famously, Siegel and Schuster selling Superman to the company for what, like $150 or something like that, and then having to sue and sue and sue to get some royalties and rights back. You gotta love pop-up ads just going crazy on there. But yeah, it isn't great. I'll tell you, when I worked at Wildstorm on staff in 2008, I got a salary, and it was nothing great. I was coloring comics for DC Comics and Wildstorm, and I got $33,000 a year. That's what I got before taxes. Excellent health insurance at the first year, and then that all went to crap too. But I went freelance in 2011, January of 2011, and the page rate was $135 per page to color and $200 per page to color covers. I got 160 to ink pages. I got 110 to write. So I did all those different things for them. But here's the thing. From 2011 until I quit working there in 2021, I think I freelanced for 10 years for them, I never got a page rate increase. And it's like, well, I'm not an employee, I'm a contractor. So when the plumber comes to my house, he's a contractor, right? Where he's not my employee. So he tells me what the plumbing costs. This business doesn't work that way. They tell you what they pay, even though you're not an employee. It's not right at all, but they have the leverage, so they do it. And they're crazy cheap. They really are. I still get royalties from them. I'm supposed to get them every quarter. I got a check like a month ago or a couple weeks ago. Like, whatever, it's nice. I get those checks. I think the contract said they go up to 9 years after my death from my widow. If my wife is alive, then hopefully, of course, she'll outlive me. Every man wants that. But yeah, that's what I got paid starting in 2011, and that's what I got paid the day I quit. Now, I talked to other people who will remain nameless, and they told me their ink rate was the same as mine or a couple bucks more. I think it was maybe 175 or 160 like me to ink pages. In 1996, I believe, they got that ink rate. And in like 2009 or 10, when we were talking about our rates, that's what they were getting paid. So you're talking, and then when we talked in the years after, in the 20 teens, they were still getting paid that. So you're telling me someone has the same rate for 20 years. That makes no sense. It's unjust. But we're not allowed to have a union. That's the thing you have to understand. Like, there's the Screen Actors Guild and all that in Hollywood, but for whatever reason, many of us has looked into it. I remember talking to Scott Kobish about this, and for whatever reason, the comic book artists were not allowed to unionize. You have the Screenwriters Guild of America, you have the Screen Actors Guild of America, and then you're legally, I'm not a lawyer, but this is what I was told over and over and over, we were not allowed to unionize. And it wouldn't have worked anyway. The minute American artists unionized, Marvel and DC would have just fully hired all, Brazilians and Filipinos and people where the law didn't apply, and nothing against them. Amazing artists. Some of my favorite artists come from those places. One of my top 3 comic book artists of all time, Nestor Redondo, is a Filipino guy. There was that Filipino invasion that came to DC Comics in the 60s with Tony DeZuniga and Alex Nino and Nestor Redondo, just amazing Filipino illustrators. But they would do that, I believe. I can't say that for certain. I'm not the one running DC Comics, but I believe that's what DC and Marvel would do. And Dustin Nguyen is just saying, F them. for, they don't pay enough, they don't give the royalties, they don't give enough free copies. You get like 5, copies of the book in the mail. And I still occasionally get collected editions and stuff like that. I got some a few weeks ago from DC Comics. But he's right. Well, you see these things on the big screen making billions of dollars. And I remember I did the math. And when I worked on Aquaman for a year, I got $88,000, I believe. And that was all like 20-something issues added up. $135 a page, 22-page issue. You do the math. It was like $80-something thousand because we were doing 2 issues a month. And that was just for one book. I made good money, but I had to work my ass off for it. It wasn't pleasant. Frankly, it was the most miserable time of my life. I had achieved my goals and my dreams of working at the highest level: Star Wars, Superman, Batman, Justice League, everything you think of. And I was more miserable than I'd ever been in my whole life because I was just working 7 days a week, 10 hours a day. It was horrible. And some of that was my own fault too. But they don't treat the artists good. And the entire point of what I'm telling you here is there's a game in life. And you need to either play it the right way or don't play it. And if you're a comic artist out there and your dream is to work for Marvel or DC, that's fine. Do it when you're young and this and that. But understand they will never value you. No, they won't. They never have. So if they start valuing people, it'll be the first time. The next time they do it will be the first time. And what you need to do eventually is go indie like I have. Or you need to get into the company like a Jim Lee now. He's a vice president, Warner Brothers, chief creative officer. He crossed over from freelancer and all that into owning the stuff or owning Wildstorm and all that, but then working there. But if you just want to stay a freelancer, it's going to be what it is. It's going to be crap deadlines, no page rate increases, the royalties or whatever. I think the threshold on royalties at DC Comics for the contracts I signed, they had to sell 60,000 copies per issue, and every copy after, so 60,001, that was your first royalty. So you didn't get royalties on every issue sold. You got them starting at a threshold. I think it was 60,000. Don't quote me on that. I have to go look at the contracts. But, it wasn't a ton of money, but it was better than nothing. DC does treat you better than Marvel. Marvel, Disney, cheaper than cheap. DC's better, but not great. Robert Kirkman paid me nearly as much, $10 less. Dark Horse paid me like $15 less. You know what I mean? The smaller companies, they didn't pay much at all, but, you don't take as much of that work when you don't have to, So that's my advice to you. If you want to work in this business and you want to work for Marvel and DC, do it with your eyes wide open, knowing going in there, they don't value anyone. This is a business. These are some of the biggest companies in the world, and be prepared to deal with that as your career goes on. And understand the only one that values you is you, not them. They may be personally nice to you, the editors, whatever, they take you out to dinner during Comic-Con. It's nothing personal, but the corporate, the company, come on, these are some of the biggest companies in the world. They don't give a crap about you. They never will. They'll use you. When they're done with you, they'll be done with you. And that's another thing. Guys age out. I remember, I'll close with this, working with Norm Breyfogle in 2004 or 5 on an independent comic book for a rich guy who lived in Bermuda. And I was thinking, why is Norm Breyfogle working on this book? He's like one of the greatest Batman artists of all time. Rest in peace, Norm Breyfogle. And it dawned on me what happens. And I was friends. I had met Mike Barron at that time. And it kind of dawned on me you have your heyday, in your 20s and 30s and maybe in your 40s. And then these editors keep coming in, new 22, 23, 25-year-old editors. They don't know you. They never really heard of you, and they don't really give a shit. And they're going to hire their younger artist friends. And then the whole woke thing happened where they're going to hire woke people. And you got to value yourself. Put yourself first in business. And I don't mean be a selfish, dishonest asshole. I mean, it's your job to look out for yourself. Because Marvel and DC and these companies, they're companies, and they're looking out for their stockholders, their board of directors, and their bottom line. And you are just a cog in the machine there. I'm sorry to shatter your dreams, but that's how it works. Guys, go to bigmancomics.com, where I will never treat you like a cog in the machine. Get yourself a copy of Dean Cain, All-American Lawman. The first printing, we still have a few in stock. Imperium is coming, the great sci-fi epic. It's a sci-fi kick to the face. And, of course, The Unstoppable Tyrus. I am more than halfway done with that. I'm up to page 62. I think I finished inks on page 62 today. Follow me on X. I'm Big Man Comics. I'm on YouTube. Hit the like, hit the share. On YouTube, I'm Gabe Eltaeb. On X, I'm Big Man Comics. Facebook and Instagram, also Gabe Eltaeb. All right, guys, and I will be back on Friday with another expert opinion. Join me live Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, 11 to noon Pacific for Big Man Comics Live. And Wednesday nights at 7 p.m., we do a hilarious improv comic show reviewing the movies we love. All right, guys, I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching. Make sure to follow us on social media and go to bigmancomics.com.